Pleiadian Transmission, the Disclosure Trojan Horse. They will try to lead you astray, beloved starseed of Gaia. There is a form of deception that does not arrive looking like deception. It arrives carrying language that sounds advanced, urgent, cosmic, liberating, and even compassionate. It arrives saying that finally the truth is here. Finally the hidden story is being revealed. Finally you can stop questioning and simply follow those who claim to know more than you. I am MAION, Pleiadian emissary of the High Council of the Seven Sisters, and I speak through the crystalline current of Alcyone to help you recognize what the Pleiadian field calls the disclosure, Trojan horse, information that appears to awaken you while quietly training you to surrender discernment, outsource authority, feed fear, or become dependent on the next revelation. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand exactly how to receive the Pleiadian light codes of discernment, how to recognize the difference between revelation and manipulation, and how to remain open to mystery without giving your sovereignty away. But here's the first revelation. Anything that asks you to abandon your inner clarity in order to be saved from fear is not leading you into freedom. You are remembering because it is time. The Disclosure Trojan Horse is not one single event, one speaker, one movement, or one claim. It is a pattern. It is the pattern of wrapping control in the language of liberation. It is the pattern of using urgency to shut down reflection. It is the pattern of telling you that you are special enough to receive hidden truth, but too incapable to evaluate it for yourself. It is the pattern of saying, "Trust us, because everyone else is asleep." The moment you hear that your worth depends on staying inside one interpretation, one authority, one channel, one group, or one constant stream of alarming information, the Pleiadian field asks you to slow down. True disclosure expands your capacity to think. Manipulated disclosure narrows it. True disclosure can tolerate questions. Manipulated disclosure punishes doubt. True disclosure invites you to compare, verify, observe, and remain grounded. Manipulated disclosure tells you there is no time to think because a countdown, threat, enemy, portal, event, or emergency is always just around the corner. True disclosure returns you to life. Manipulated disclosure traps your attention in permanent anticipation. This is why the Pleiadian field is sending this warning now. Many sensitive souls are vulnerable not because they are foolish, but because they are searching for meaning after years of disconnection. A person who has felt unseen can be deeply affected by a message saying, "You are one of the few who understand." A person who has felt powerless can be drawn to a message saying, "Secret forces are about to reveal everything." A person who has felt lonely can become dependent on a group that calls itself family, while demanding complete agreement. The wound is real. The need for belonging is real. But real needs can still be used by distorted fields. They will try to lead you astray by making fear feel like vigilance. They will tell you that constant anxiety means you are awake, that scanning every headline, every symbol, every light in the sky, every rumor, and every prediction is spiritual preparation. But fear without grounding does not make perception clearer. It makes perception easier to manipulate. A nervous system in alarm seeks certainty. Whoever offers certainty during fear can become powerful very quickly. The Pleiadian High Council wants you to remember that discernment becomes more difficult when the body is exhausted. This is why rest is part of spiritual sovereignty. A sleep-deprived, overstimulated, frightened person is more likely to accept simple explanations for complex situations. This is not a moral failure. It is human physiology. Take care of the vessel. Step away from the feed. Sleep. Eat. Walk. Breathe. Let your nervous system return before deciding what you believe. The Trojan horse pattern often begins with partial truth. This is what makes it effective. A message may contain a real concern, a genuine inconsistency, a valid question, or an important criticism. But then the valid question becomes a bridge toward claims that cannot be tested, fears that never resolve, independence that keeps growing. The Pleiadian field asks you to separate the first useful question from everything attached to it afterward. One true piece does not automatically make the entire structure true. You are allowed to say, "This part makes sense to me," and this part does not. You are allowed to remain uncertain. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to ask for evidence. You are allowed to pause before sharing. You are allowed to receive a spiritual message symbolically rather than literally. Sovereignty is not certainty. Sovereignty is the ability to remain honest about what you know, what you suspect, what you feel, and what you cannot yet conclude. The disclosure Trojan horse also works through identity. It may tell you that if you question a claim, you are not evolved enough. If you disagree, you are still programmed. If you ask for evidence, you are closed-minded. If you leave, you have betrayed the mission. These are control patterns. A healthy spiritual field does not need to shame your intelligence in order to keep you present. A true teacher can survive your questions. A true community can tolerate your boundaries. The source does not require you to become intellectually passive in order to be spiritually open. Curiosity and discernment can exist together. Mystery and evidence can exist together. Intuition and verification can exist together. A grounded starseed does not have to choose between being spiritually alive and mentally careful. The Pleiadian path asks for both. Some messages will try to create urgency through dates. A specific day, a month, a window, a countdown, a final chance. If the date passes, a new date may appear. If the prediction fails, the explanation may become more complex. Perhaps the timeline shifted. Perhaps the event happened invisibly. Perhaps only special souls could feel it. Be careful when a system can never be wrong, because every failed prediction becomes proof of a deeper secret. A claim that cannot possibly be tested can still be meaningful as metaphor, but it should not control your life as certainty. The Pleiadian field is not asking you to become cynical. Cynicism closes the heart. Discernment keeps the heart open while the mind remains awake. You can listen to a cosmic message and ask what it helps you live more clearly. You can receive symbolism without surrendering practical judgment. You can explore possibilities without building your entire identity around them. They may also try to lead you astray through flattery. You are the chosen few. You are more advanced than everyone else. You are here to save those who cannot see. Be careful. True remembrance creates humility. It does not need to make you superior. If a message strengthens compassion, responsibility, patience, and service, observe that fruit. If it strengthens contempt, paranoia, isolation, and obsession, observe that fruit too. The disclosure Trojan horse may also use enemies to create loyalty. It tells you that danger is everywhere, and only the group can protect you. Anyone outside is compromised. Anyone who questions is part of the problem. This is one of the oldest control patterns in human history. Create fear, define an enemy, and offer belonging as protection. The Pleiadian field asks you to watch for this structure, even when it wears cosmic language. The disclosure Trojan horse can also work through endless consumption. You watch one message, then another, and another. Each one says something bigger is coming. The next update will explain everything. The next date will change the world. The next hidden truth will finally make your life make sense. Meanwhile, your room remains cluttered. Your body remains exhausted. Your project remains unfinished. Your relationship needs a conversation, and your life waits while your attention is held by the next revelation. This is one of the clearest tests. Does the information help you live more consciously, or does it keep you consuming? Does it return energy to your life, or take energy from it? Does it help you build, heal, speak, create, and choose? or does it keep you in permanent waiting? The Pleiadian field does not need you addicted to messages. It needs you embodied. The hidden danger of constant disclosure content is that external revelation can become a substitute for internal work. It is easier to study secret systems than to admit you are afraid to set a boundary. Easier to analyze cosmic conflict than to have an honest conversation. Easier to wait for a global event than to begin the project you have postponed. Easier to believe that everything will change soon than to change one habit today. The disclosure Trojan horse can also appear as false intimacy. A speaker says, "Only I can tell you the truth. Only this transmission is safe. Only this group understands what is happening." The audience begins feeling personally bonded to a figure who does not actually know them. This parasocial dependency can become strong. Be aware of how often you are told that leaving the content means missing protection, missing codes, missing ascension, or being left behind. The source does not withhold your worth until you consume one more message. Your sovereignty is not hidden behind an endless stream of urgent updates. A true transmission should eventually make you less dependent on the transmission. It should strengthen your ability to listen inwardly, think clearly, care for the body, act responsibly, and return to your life. The Pleiadian High Council also wants you to understand how language can influence perception. Emotional charge captures attention. This does not automatically make the message false, but it means you should become more conscious of how your nervous system responds. When you feel urgency, pause. Ask what is being claimed. Ask what can be verified. The hidden revelation before integration begins is this: the greatest protection against the disclosure Trojan horse is not knowing every secret. It is knowing how your own fear behaves. Know what happens when you feel excluded. Know what happens when you feel uncertain. Know what happens when someone flatters your spiritual identity. Know what happens when a countdown activates your anxiety. Self-knowledge is part of cosmic discernment. Beloved, if this transmission is already touching the place in you that wants truth without manipulation, revelation without dependency, and spiritual openness without surrendering discernment, your star family has prepared a deeper path for this exact threshold. The Pleiadian bloodline method, Unlock Your 7 Inheritances, was created not as information to collect, but as a sacred map for healing, remembrance, and crystalline integration, while you strengthen intuition, sovereignty, heart coherence, and grounded discernment. Insight without losing their center, their reason, or their responsibility. You will find it in the first pinned comment below this video, available now for those who feel called to receive the next layer of their Pleiadian inheritance. Now begin with the first protection. Slow the nervous system before deciding what is true. When a message frightens you, excites you intensely, or makes you feel uniquely chosen, do not immediately share it. Breathe. Walk away for a few minutes. Let the emotional charge settle. Then return and ask what remains when the adrenaline is gone. Clarity often sounds quieter than urgency. The next movement is to separate claim, interpretation, and emotion. A claim is what is being said happened. An interpretation is what someone says it means. Emotion is how the message makes you feel. These three things are often blended together. Practice separating them. What other interpretations are possible? What am I feeling? Then examine incentives. Is someone asking for money, loyalty, secrecy, unquestioning obedience, or constant attention? Again, incentives do not automatically prove dishonesty, but they matter. A person can sincerely believe something and still benefit from keeping others afraid or dependent. Mature discernment looks at the full structure, not only the speaker's tone. From there, diversify your sources of understanding. Do not let one person interpret the entire world for you. Read different perspectives. Look for primary evidence where possible. Compare. Notice disagreement. A strong belief can survive honest examination. A fragile belief needs isolation. The Pleiadian field asks you to learn the sacred phrase, "I do not know yet." This phrase is powerful. It protects you from the pressure to choose a side before you have enough clarity. It protects you from sharing what you cannot support. It protects you from pretending certainty to maintain belonging. Humility is a form of spiritual strength. You may also need to audit your information diet. How many hours are spent consuming revelations compared with living? How does your body feel after? More grounded? More capable? More compassionate? Or anxious, suspicious, scattered, and desperate for the next update? Your body provides information about the effect of what you consume, even if it cannot alone determine whether a claim is true. Set a boundary around high-intensity content, not because every message is wrong, but because your nervous system needs space to integrate. Choose times to disconnect. Return to practical reality. Cook, walk, clean, speak with someone you trust. Touch ordinary life. Reality testing is strengthened when you remain connected to ordinary responsibilities. The disclosure Trojan horse may also encourage you to interpret every disagreement as attack. Resist this. Sometimes criticism is unfair. Sometimes it reveals something useful. Sometimes another person simply has different evidence or priorities. A sovereign field does not collapse when challenged. It listens, evaluates, and chooses. Ask whether your spiritual beliefs are making you easier or harder to manipulate. If fear can instantly control your attention, there is work to do. If flattery can instantly win your trust, there is work to do. If belonging requires agreement, there is work to do. This is not failure. This is the place where sovereignty strengthens. The Pleiadian current also asks you to distinguish secrecy from sacred privacy. Sacred privacy protects what is still forming. Secrecy used for control tells you not to talk to outsiders because they might question the system. Healthy spiritual practice does not require isolation from everyone who might disagree. Be careful when a group wants to become your only source of meaning, friendship, information, and identity. Some of you may be grieving because you once believed something deeply and later realized it was incomplete or distorted. Do not shame yourself. Intelligent people can believe incorrect things. Sensitive people can be persuaded. Loneliness can affect judgment. Fear can narrow attention. The answer is not self-hatred. The answer is learning. The Trojan horse pattern often depends on sunk cost. You have spent months, years, money, reputation, or emotion inside a belief system. So leaving feels like admitting everything was wasted. But learning is not waste. You can keep the wisdom and release the distortion. The Pleiadian field asks you to protect relationships from ideological capture. If every conversation becomes a test of whether someone agrees with your worldview, connection will shrink. You do not need to convince everyone. You can share respectfully, listen, and keep boundaries. They may try to lead you astray by convincing you that ordinary care is beneath you. That practical planning is low frequency. That evidence is fear. That medical care, financial planning, work, or responsibility means you are disconnected from higher truth. Reject this split. The Pleiadian path unites spirit and matter. Wisdom can appear through intuition and through practical expertise. The disclosure Trojan horse may also create permanent emergency. There is always another threat, another hidden enemy, another deadline, another warning. The body never receives permission to rest. Chronic emergency makes people easier to control because survival thinking seeks authority. Notice whether your spiritual environment allows peace. The Pleiadian Collective asks you to rebuild trust with your direct experience. What do you actually know from your own life? Which practices help your body? Which relationships show consistency? Which choices bring more coherence over time? Build from lived evidence. Cosmic ideas can enrich life, but they should not erase the wisdom gained through experience. The true disclosure the Pleiadian field cares about is the disclosure of your own pattern to yourself. The moment you see where you abandon your voice. The moment you recognize why you chase inconsistency. The moment you admit what you avoid. The moment you see how fear makes you consume instead of create. These revelations change lives because they change behavior. There may be mysteries in the universe. There may be things humanity does not yet understand. Openness to mystery is beautiful. But mystery is not permission for certainty without evidence. You can say, perhaps. You can say, I wonder. You can say, this symbol speaks to me. Spiritual maturity does not need to convert every possibility into fact. The Pleiadian field also asks you to watch how money and fear interact. Be cautious when fear is immediately followed by an expensive solution, exclusive access, or pressure to act quickly. Again, a paid product can have real value. The issue is not money itself. The issue is manipulation through urgency. A clean offering gives you room to decide. The disclosure Trojan horse can use community pressure too. Everyone around you agrees, so questioning feels dangerous. This is why independent reflection matters. Step outside the group emotion. Ask what you would think if you had encountered the same claim alone. Ask what evidence would change your mind. If the answer is nothing, you are no longer evaluating. You are defending identity. This freedom can feel vulnerable. Certainty is comforting, but false certainty can become a cage. A sovereign soul can stand in uncertainty and still live meaningfully. Some of you may realize that constant disclosure content has replaced your creative life. You know hundreds of theories, but have not written the book, started the channel, organized the home, repaired the relationship, or developed the skill. This realization may hurt. Let it become movement. The Pleiadian High Council asks you to evaluate teachings by fruit over time, not only by emotional intensity in the moment. Does the teaching make you more grounded, more responsible, more loving, more capable of boundaries, more able to admit uncertainty, more connected to life, or more frightened, isolated, dependent, and obsessed? Fruit matters. This warning is not telling you to distrust everyone. Total distrust is another trap. The goal is calibrated trust. Trust built through consistency, evidence, accountability, humility, and time. You do not have to choose between blind trust and total suspicion. The same applies to your intuition. Do not worship every feeling. Feelings matter, but they can be influenced by fear, trauma, desire, and expectation. Honor intuition by testing it gently. Keep notes. Watch patterns. Learn how your own anxiety sounds. Learn how calm knowing feels. Discernment becomes personal through practice. It does not need you isolated in order to remain true. It does not need you dependent on one interpreter in order to be understood. Real truth can be approached through patience, humility, evidence, intuition, dialogue, and time. They may try to lead you astray, but the greatest protection is not fear. It is inner steadiness. It is the ability to pause, to ask, to compare, to say no, to say I do not know, to leave a field that punishes questions, to return to your body, to remain connected with reality. Tonight, before sleep, place one hand over your heart and say softly, I receive truth without surrendering discernment. I welcome the Pleiadian light codes of Alcyone and the 7 sisters that strengthen humility, clarity, sovereignty, and grounded awareness. I release fear-based urgency, spiritual dependency, and the need to feel superior through hidden knowledge. I trust the source to guide me through truth with patience, responsibility, and love. Speak slowly. Let the nervous system know that uncertainty is survivable. In the days ahead, watch how information affects your body. Watch what happens when you pause before sharing. Watch which messages allow questions. Watch which communities respect boundaries. Watch whether a teaching returns you to life or keeps you waiting. Watch whether fear is being used to capture attention. These observations will strengthen your field. So when you hear, they will try to lead you astray. Receive the purified meaning. Let it mean that deception may wear the language of awakening. Let it mean that partial truth can be used to carry distortion. Let it mean that urgency must be examined. Let it mean that your sovereignty includes your mind, your body, and your right to question. Let it mean that disclosure without discernment can become another form of control. And now feel what has shifted. You do not need to fear every message. You need to become harder to manipulate. You do not need to know every secret. You need to remain loyal to truth, humility, evidence, intuition, and embodied life. Your star family is near, not to make you dependent, but to help you become clearer. Breathe. Pause. Ask the question. Check the pattern. Protect your attention. The disclosure Trojan horse loses power when the gatekeeper inside you is awake. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of the unity grid forming here. Drop one heart intention in the comments, something real. Then respond to someone else's with love or encouragement. This isn't content, it's collective Pleiadian reunion. Energy multiplies when hearts connect. If something in this message resonated with your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Someone in your orbit is waiting for this exact activation from their star family. Share it. And if you felt your heart open, subscribe. Stay connected to the frequency. You're not just watching, you're remembering. This is your sacred space. Your Pleiadian family is here, and we're just getting started.